stood up there and looked at him, and it's like...
I just couldn't hold it anymore, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was a chupacabra. I was so excited.
They were referring to Bigfoot.
There are voices in the darkness. The reason why this show is called Drunken Cryptids.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. I'm your host, Matthew Orton, and I want to give a quick shout out to blademedia.com. Dylan, thank you so very much for the hard work you've done on the logo, and the website's amazing. Again, you guys, if you want to check out his work, definitely check out our website, drunkencryptids.com, or you can actually reach out to him at his website. It is blademedia, BLAYED.com. I always want to say .com every time I do that. I don't know why. I just do. I do. But anyways, guys, so thank you very much, Dylan, again. Quick shout out to the team, you guys. I appreciate all the hard work you guys are putting into it. We're doing something different. The tavern's in the process of moving, so we are getting some episodes out there. There may be a guest episode coming as well, but don't worry. We will be back with all of our fun antics and everything as soon as we get the tavern relocated, and recording should be starting soon. And I'm also taking a vacation here in about a month or so. So, yeah, there's going to be some little bit in there. But if you've had an encounter and you want to come on the show, email us, drunkencryptids@gmail.com. Also, you guys, we do have a Patreon available. Whatever tier works out for you. Please, jump in there and help support the show. But you can also help support the show as well by liking and sharing with your friends. Share with the people you like. The more likes and shares that we get, the more comments that we get, the higher in the algorithm we go. And that gives me a chance to be able to get some more better content for you guys. And, of course, the show is always evolving, so every episode is different and the layout is different. So, because I hate, just kind of over and over and over again redundancy. But tonight, we are doing a different kind of a show, and I kind of hinted at it when I had him on already. So, coming back again for his third show, everybody give a nice round of applause for Connor. Yay!
Hey,
Connor.
guys, what's up?
Yay, it's Connor. Connor.
It's me. Hey.
Yay.
Hey, it's Las Vegas.
Welcome back. So I decided, I found this unique little cryptid. And come to find out, it's one of America's oldest cryptids. Yeah, and believe it or not, we have an eyewitness.
Really?
Yes, we're going to call the eyewitness in after we dig into this a little bit.
Oh, awesome. I can't wait.
I know. So, but the reason why I wanted you to come in and sit on the show is because one of, not only your background, with herpetology and all the good stuff, and we hinted at this one in the last episode, if you remember. It's the infamous hoop snake.
Oh, the snake that bites itself and rolls.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know.
I remember.
I mean, it was funny as too, looking back as a kid, I remember hearing about the hoop snake.
Yeah, I can too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember it. I believe it's also an emblem on something. Like, it's on something.
You grab your phone and Google it. That's a cool thing.
Right now.
Yeah.
It's something that I not only was told when I was younger, like just growing up in herpetoculture with my grandpa keeping giant snakes and having all of his old literature, and then also just being kind of naturally drawn to everything in the herpetoculture world, especially with turtles when I was younger. But I remember seeing the hoop snake on something, and let me see if I can't just do a basic Google search to see what it's on.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to start talking about our little creature today. So here we go. The hoop snake is the most venomous snake in North America. It was once quite common, but is quite rare these days. At first glance, the hoop snake appears to be a rather ordinary stout black snake. But this reptile has some very remarkable adaptations, which set it apart from our more familiar serpents. For instance, the American hoop snake is the only snake on the planet with a venomous stinger on its tail. In fact, its original name is based on this, and colonial and early Americas called it the horned snake, for the particular rigid spike on the end of its tail. Now, unlike other venomous snakes, its venom glands are not attached to its fangs, but rather to the sharp horn-like stinger on its tail, which resembles that of a rooster spur. These snake spurs are, in fact, a modified $10 word. Here, you deal with that word all the time.
Keratinous.
It's a keratinous scale.
It means like your fingernail keratin.
There you go,
It's like your
keratin.
hair and fingernails.
I could not get that word out.
It's all good.
And much like the rattlesnake's rattles, these horns form when the snake sheds, getting larger with each molting. Now, this venomous horn would seem like a unique enough adaptation for most animals, but the hoop snake also has a unique form of movement. It can roll like a wheel. Now, they do this by grasping their tail's horn in their mouth, which forms a hoop out of their body. This unique shape, singular among animals, is what gives them their name. They are called hoop after the resemblance to the metal hoops once used to hold the slates of wooden barrels together. Rolling hoop snakes can reach incredible speeds, according to Henry Tyron, the director of the New York State's Black Rock Forest. Under optimal conditions, they can reach nearly 60 miles an hour. Okay, let's think about that for a minute.
That is fast.
That is beyond fast. I mean, I know a lot of old
highway
people who can't drive that fast.
They shouldn't be driving that fast.
Now, it is said that when undisturbed, these snakes move around on their bellies like other snakes. But when angered, they are fearless and always give chase in hoop form. The best way to escape a pursuing hoop snake is to climb over a fence and continue to run. You know, since we do have a witness, I'm kind of curious if that's what happened. This works, it seems, as they are forced to give up rolling and instead crawl through the fence. Now, snakes can actually crawl pretty fast.
Yeah, even the black racer, like we have multiple species in the United States called racers. I mean,
Well,
we have the black
ironic enough, that's what they compare this to. Like you're jumping ahead. Did you read ahead?
No, I'm just saying, like, I know there's some very fast snakes on this planet, and some of the snakes that are in the Americas, like the racer, the black racer that we have here. I mean, it is.
Well,
it's
don't you
quick.
think it would go quicker slithering than it would rolling?
100%.
Unless it was downhill.
Yeah. I mean, I would, for me, and just like the basic anatomy, I would need to absolutely see how. I mean, so. You know, we were talking this morning. You know, I sent you a crazy video of a snake eating itself, and it's a hoop. I mean, it's a ring. It ate like 70% of its body, and this is in captivity. So, I have always been curious on where that old world idea of the hoop snake came from, for sure, just because I'm naturally fascinated with snakes.
Well, they're describing it in the ancient when they came over here.
No, for sure. Like, so someone saw something.
Yeah, they turned into a hoop and rolled.
Yeah. Now, could it have been a freak thing? I don't know.
So, all right. So before I get the witness on here.
Yes.
Okay. So this is because we're actually y'all gonna hear the phone ring and everything here shortly. The funny part about it is, so when I was talking to Tommy, and that's who the witness is, producer Tommy, love you for Jilly. And I said, oh, you and me are going to do the hoop snake tonight. And he goes, oh man, yeah, those things are crazy. And I was like, huh? And he goes, yeah, I saw one as a kid. And I went, I'm sorry, what? And he starts telling me this encounter, and I went, do me a favor. And he goes, and I love Tommy. I love Tommy. I said, do me a favor, Tommy. He goes, what? I said, Google it. And he goes, okay. And so he pulled it up and gets quiet. He goes, these things aren't supposed to exist. He got like, he was blown away. Like, this was like a normal thing for him.
Which is crazy because, again, we talked about my last time was like going herping and stuff like that, actively going to look for snakes. And I've caught racers my entire life. And I think that would be cool to see, for sure. So I am excited to hear from him and like his experience on that, considering it is supposed to be a myth.
Yeah.
So for me, this is definitely one of those cryptids that's up my alley that I would love to either see in real life, get a video of it, something. I would love for it to happen.
I agree.
And me see it.
Well, okay, so like we brought up, okay, I'll use this real quick before I get to he's ready. But what's the population of hognoses?
I mean, they're a pretty common species.
Yeah, how often do you see them?
I mean,
I'm in the woods all the time. You know how many
you're
I've
probably
seen
in the wrong spot.
You know how many times? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Bingo.
Okay, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm thinking that's what it may be, is the wrong, is trying to track these things down. All right, let's give Tommy a call.
Let's do it.
All right. Y'all going to hear the phone ring.
Just kidding.
I hope so.
Oh, there we go.
That was funny. Your phone lit at the same time.
Hello.
Hey, Tommy, we are recording.
Good evening.
Oh, great.
You
How
remember,
are you guys doing?
doing
Good.
good. You remember Connor?
Hey, Connor.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. I like your new addition you got.
He's pretty sick, isn't he?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
since you brought it up, why don't you tell everybody what you just acquired today?
Okay, so if you guys follow me on my social media, you'll know that I definitely like snakes, but my first true passion is turtles, and I actually it's a little bit of a sad story. I got a mata turtle, a species that I've wanted for like 21 years, and unfortunately, right after I got it, it sadly passed away. And but I was determined to get another one, and I actually got another very healthy looking mata, a Peruvian mata, which is just one of the most wacky, crazy, suction feeding, snapping turtles. It's one of the coolest, most iconic turtles that you can see, and he's awesome. So I'm gonna let him chill, and he'll definitely be all over my social media in the next couple days after he's kind of settled in. He's awesome.
The pictures you sent me of him earlier today.
I'll get some better ones. Don't worry.
I know. I can't wait. I was telling you earlier. I was like, I just need to go over to his house and hang out.
You know, you're more than welcome.
Let me
I
move.
was about,
Tommy, you too.
to say, that is going to be definitely something people's going to want to look at right there, man.
He's cool.
He is definitely cool. Yeah. So, all right. So I was just telling everybody, Tommy, before we called you, and Connor, I was just telling them, I was like, I told you today that I was going to do the episode on the hoop snake, right? And
Yes.
you were like, "Oh yeah, those things are kind of cool, and aren't they like really dangerous?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And you're like, "Yeah, I had one chase me once." And I went, "I'm sorry, what?" And I had you Google it, and you were like, and you did, which was great. You Googled it, and then you're like, "These things aren't supposed to exist." And I was like, "No, it's a cryptid." So, real quick. You've seen one, so why don't you tell Connor?
Yeah,
and
because this is, like I said, right up my alley. I grew up hearing about this, and I definitely want to know more.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm from southeastern Kentucky, so if there's cryptids out there, I'm going to see it, especially back then. And we had I was young. I want to say probably in the 8 to 10 range, and we had like a little homemade so-called basketball court in the middle of the woods here. We was in the middle of the trees and stuff, we had like a little bucket hammered to a tree, and that's how we played basketball.
Love it.
So we would always play out there and stuff, and then it just happened so during a hot day we get out of the woods from doing what bears do, and I happen to look back because I hear leaves crunching. But we don't see anything, so we're like, oh, okay. And then we get back out to where we play ball at, which is just like mud, dirt type of ground, and happen to look over, and you just see something sort of, I guess when flop. I mean, you just see like, I don't know, it looked like somebody threw something, because all you see is like before it hit the ground type deal.
Yeah.
And we're like, huh, what was that? And the funny part is, my grandma and them would always tell me about these snakes that will roll at you. So again, snakes that roll at you. Cool. Never believed it. And then happened so that day, here one was black. Sucker was rolling at us. It was rolling at me and a couple other, I think it was me and my cousin, or it was one or two of us. I know there was more than me. But yeah, it was rolling at us. It was really funny, but scary at the same time. You got this little thing rolling at you, and you're just running like crazy across the field.
So, the sciencey part of me's got to come out. What was the environment like? So I know you said you're in the woods. Was it tall grass? Was it a rocky outcrop?
Well, I mean, it was sort of tall. I mean, it was woods. I mean, it was tree, woods, leaves.
Yeah, just typical forest.
Yeah, just typical forest. And we just had a spot there that I'm guessing the people that came and cut trees down cleared out.
Yeah.
At one point, because they was going to do something, but they never did. That area had a lot of mining and Indian burial grounds around.
Nice.
So they never really finished any projects. I mean, they were bulldozers and tractors that was left there for years that people just upped and abandoned. Now I just now thought of wonder why. But we used to play on them. Like they was there so long that we literally made
Like a jungle gym.
like jungle gym tire swings out of them. I mean, never thought nothing of it. Now I know how expensive these equipments are. I'm like, wow, why did they leave them? But yeah, they had cleared off a little path and nothing ever happened or nothing came of it. So I guess my uncle and them just put like a little type of basketball bucket or whatever up, and that's what we did. I mean, it was pretty neat. I mean, we was circled by trees and stuff like that. I mean, so you had like mud, like dirt grass area, and then you had little rocks where the coal mines used to, are and stuff like that.
For sure.
Well,
But back in the holler, Kentucky.
Well, you're going to love this one. So, hoop snakes can be found in the woods, on flat ground, or in hills, but their favorite habitat is tall grass around settled areas. Which
I guess that
describes
makes
it pretty much.
Yeah, it describes the location and where you're at,
Exactly.
which is, I mean, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't know they, was it supposed to exist or whatever. I mean, when you said that today, I was like, what? Really? There's no way.
Yeah, they are known as America's oldest cryptid.
Wow.
And it's funny because like I sent him a video this morning of a snake eating itself, and it's a hoop.
Yeah, so
It's a black Mexican king snake, and there's snakes that eat snakes like king snakes, and sometimes you'll see them at like reptile expos where they're in by themselves, and for whatever reason they're just eating themselves from the tail all the way up until they make a perfect ring. And but listening to the description of the hoop snake it's cool. I mean, I do think it's very fascinating, and that'd be probably, now that I know that like it's an actual something, I want to see one. And like I want to go herping in Kentucky now, in the middle of BFE, Kentucky, next to some old equipment.
Well, we are planning a trip to the LBL next year, which is in Kentucky.
I might not be near the LBL, but
Oh, come on.
you can just drop me off in a field somewhere.
Oh, come on. So
There's
now, Tommy, you're going to appreciate some of these facts real quick, okay?
It's a sheet.
It's a she.
No, it's a sheet.
It's a sheet. Yes. All right. So, all right. Now, okay. So let's talk about the habitat. Now, this is where they are most deadly, as people often can't see them rolling. Like you said, you heard the leaves crunching. Okay. I mean, this is crazy. All right. Rolling in tall fields until the snakes are rolling right up on them. Reportedly, people seeing the first bicycles, high-wheeled penny farthings, the ones I'm talking about with the big front wheel.
Yeah, like
that
the
was huge.
old-timey bikes.
Yeah. It looked to people like they were riding a hoop snake.
Huh.
So, I mean, the hoop snake was so prevalent that people were seeing these things back then that, I mean, they referred to the bicycle, and here's a picture of it. So, Tommy,
yeah,
if you want to throw a picture of it up on the video of the bicycle.
yeah. Yeah, definitely send it to me, and I'll post it that way audience see what we're talking about.
I'll give you my notes.
There you
All right.
go.
So now, ironic enough, though, the penny farthing bicycle was nicknamed the hoop snake, right? Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Now I want that bike.
Yeah,
That's
I
how I'm
know.
going to start going to school.
Now, real hoop snakes, as opposed to fake ones, I don't know what a fake one would be, but real hoop snakes always roll with their tails rising, so that like a whip, they are ready to strike anyone they catch. Death is assured for anyone stung by a hoop snake. Now, remember, because it's not their teeth that are venomous; it's their tail.
That's their tail.
That
Like a
was spiking
stinger,
them.
like a scorpion.
Yeah. Even a dose as small as 0.003 ppm is certain to cause a quick death. Now, how do they have these numbers
I don't know.
if it doesn't exist? Or if it didn't exist?
That don't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. In New England, those who have been stung by a hoop snake are said to have been blasted. The victim swells and dies a painful, quick death. Well, at least it's quick, but
That's
painful
true.
sounds horrible. The venom is so toxic that if the stinging tail misses its target and strikes a tree, then within a few hours, the bark of the tree will swell, then burst, and within a few days, it peels off, leaving the plant dead and shattered as if it had been blasted by lightning.
Ugh.
Even dead wood, like a hoe handle, if struck, will somehow also be swelled and burst into splinters.
Heck,
That's
Isn't
wild.
that crazy?
that's
All right.
really crazy.
It gets even crazier. Here we go. In accounts from the Ozarks, hello,
Oh,
that's us, right up the road, and the upper Midwest, when the hoop snake accidentally stings dead wood, the wood itself swells to enormous size without breaking. In one account from Missouri, shortly after the Civil War, a hoop snake stung the wooden tongue of an ox cart, which caused it to swell so large that the ox couldn't pull the wagon due to the weight of the swollen tongue. Now, we're not talking about the ox tongue, the cart's tongue.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know, I don't know what that is either. Well, I can Google that real quick, Tommy. Let's see, ox cart tongue. Let's see what Mr. Google. Yeah, this is again.
I probably do know what it is. I just didn't know what that was.
Yeah, honestly, it's probably referred to something else because this is some old information. Oh, it's a piece that sticks out. You hook up to the
To the actual animal?
To the actual animal. Yeah.
Okay, that
that's
makes
what
sense,
I thought
actually.
it was. All right, so the only remedy was that it to be chopped back down to size with axes. Now, this covering produced a couple of cords of firewood and a pile of shavings the size of a haystack. That's pretty swollen.
That's big.
That sounds like a story there.
I don't even know if I'd want to burn that.
No. In other cases, small trees or single logs have been swollen up so large that they can be sawed into enough boards to build a house. But one should always be careful while working with hoop snake stung wood, as the venom penetrates every fiber over time and it retains its deadliness even after years. In one case, an Arkansas carpenter,
Oh, there we go.
working with the stuff, picked up a splinter and thoughtlessly used it as a toothpick.
Oh my god.
You put it straight to the dome.
He sure did. The poor fellow died before sundown.
Oh my
That's what it says.
Wow.
The poor fellow died before sundown. Now, while there is no cure for the deadly venom of the hoop snake sting, apparently you can take the swell out of wood efficiently by painting it with turpentine.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yep. Now, similar growth has occurred in tool handles, gun stocks, and just about anything else you can imagine. In an astounding count near Great Lakes, a hoop snake once stung one of Paul Bunyan's giant PV handles, a spiked lumberjack tool for turning logs. This handle was a huge tree trunk to begin with, but it was said to have swelled into a log that Paul cut up into 946 cords of firewood. Yeah, which sadly they found out when it burned, but rather just lay there in the fireplace and hissed. I love how they put in there hissed.
And his.
And hissed. So what do you think about that before I go any further?
I think that's it's wild. I mean, so for me, as far as like the venom studies go, where he had like the what, 0.0003,
Mhm.
I forget what,
PMM?
PMM. I don't think we use that anymore.
Did they use it back in the day?
They may have. I mean, I'm sure we have different, because we don't do a lot of milking these days in the venom world.
Right.
A lot of anti-venom can be synthesized without the transfusion from like the blood of a horse and all that stuff. PMM venom. Let's just see what that says.
So it says on hoop snakes now, if one of the methods to avoid a hoop snake is to smear Vegemite around bites.
Vegemite?
Yeah.
That's Australian.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's super nasty.
It's an Australian one, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in
It
Australia.
I've never had
It
it.
acts as a repellent.
Yeah, once you start Googling hoop snake, you get a lot of stuff from Australia.
So that was
Yeah,
the first
I
thing that
saw
popped
that.
up was Hoop Snake Australia.
See? Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it just showed me too. I was like, oh, okay.
Which hence the Vegemite.
Yep. Which
Because I have lots of friends in Australia.
Yeah, I hear it's nasty.
Yeah, I hear and it doesn't look good.
But they love it, apparently.
I think I'm going to pass.
It's almost like the Icelandic food. Have you seen some of their food?
No,
Is
but
it
I
like a
don't
cream or
like
something?
Mediterranean food.
It's like weird like walrus blubber and
Ew.
Dude, when I was in
canned
when I was in
fish.
Alaska, I got to have some stuff that this Inuit tribe. I went on a fishing charter up there, and I got to eat some stuff that like normal people don't get to eat. Not a fan. Have you ever had seal? Not good.
No, I'm not a great white shark.
It's not that good. It's not good.
Ain't still rubbery.
It's very rubbery. It's, I mean,
Yeah.
It looks rubbery.
it's not good. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. Just eat
I
salmon.
still wonder what penguin tastes like.
Ooh, don't tell her that.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't use that joke anymore. Oh man.
But no, I mean, I think it's cool, and it's funny because it talks about the keratinous tip where the stinger would be and the venom gland at the tip of the tail. You know, a lot of snakes have a modified scale at the tip of their tail, and if you hold them wrong, they stab you with it.
Really?
Yeah, like a lot. Like a lot of colubrids, even here in the United States and other countries, there's a modified stinger. It's a sharp scale at the tip of their tail, and they will poke you with it. Cobras have it. Corn snakes have it. Rat snakes have it. I believe coach whips definitely have it.
Yeah, I believe that one. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where they
so-
get the name from.
But which I going back, I'm gonna find it, and I'm gonna send you the photo. And Tommy, I'll send it to you too. I just remember this image of a hoop snake that was just like reoccurring, and I cannot remember where I saw it, and I can still see it in my head. I just don't know how.
Yeah,
to,
I know the image. Yeah,
It's an old timey image.
it's a snake eating itself,
It is.
and it's from. Oh my
But
god!
it's rolling.
It's right there.
It's gonna drive me nuts now.
See, about midnight, I'll probably wake up and go,
That's
that's it.
Yeah, I'll text you and you text. I don't care. 2 a.m. I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it'll be the same thing, yeah. I mean, I'll read at 5:30 in the morning when I wake up. But
I'll be up that too. Gotta get ready for work. But I don't. But at the time, I just thought it was like imagery, like back in like the old newspapery days where they had their way of doing like political imagery.
Cartoons, yeah.
Yes, and
That's
at
what
the
it was. It was showing government eating itself.
So, I mean, if this is from back the old colonial times and we have images from like then, makes like maybe there's a correlation between that. If it's one of the oldest cryptids, or it is the oldest cryptid, maybe there is a correlation to that. But yeah, I feel like it's an old political
Yeah,
government.
I think it's the popular one. I mean, Sasquatch has been here before. I mean, they kind of, you know, we could go into that aspect of it, but you know, the Ray was the oldest. So you're going, But if you look at to where the references when they were seeing people on bicycles, you know,
I mean, it's 1800s all day.
yeah, that's you know, that's a hoop snake. You know, and then what Tommy describing what he saw, which is crazy. You know, I'm wondering how many other people seen them.
Yeah, and that's like one of those ones that leads you down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, is that like
That sounds like new merch to me.
when I was doing it? Yeah, they could be new merch.
Just like, hey, I'm just saying, under the Russ Vegas umbrella is Russ Vegas Renderings. I am also a freelance digital artist.
Look at that.
So maybe Drunken Cryptids has something in the future.
There might be something. Tommy, what do you think about that?
Got my little what do you call the hamster wheel rolling.
Oh, I'm thinking about you talking about your tail spike was about to get excited. Oh, well, check this out, you guys. But perhaps the most amazing account of the effect of hoop snake venom occurred near Roke Creek in southern Missouri, when an Ozark Hill man narrowly dodged the sting of an angry hoop snake, and the snake's stinger broke off in a flint boulder. The rock swelled, cracked, and popped. In 2 days, it had grown into a large, rocky knob of a mountain that even today is known as Hoop Snake Mountain.
Really?
So the venom of the snake caused Hoop Snake Mountain.
So that's a little bit outside of, in between Springfield and St. Louis.
Isn't that crazy? Hoop
Oh,
Snake
wow.
Mountain. Yep. Hoop Snake Mountain. Would have never thought that a snake caused Hoop Snake Mountain.
There'd be
You
a
would know.
mountain I'm afraid to touch.
Yeah, I don't recommend.
I want to go out there now.
Is it maybe there's hoop snakes? I don't know. But while some of the stories of the hoop snake have undoubtedly been exaggerated over the years, the sheer number of sightings and persistent and total belief in this creature across such a wide area do indicate that this legendary creature must be based on some sort of fact. Well, we just were talking about that. Now, I do believe behind every cryptid there is a kernel of truth.
No, 100%.
Whether it be a misidentification or along those things, like this one could be that somebody saw a snake eating itself, one of the, you know what I mean, and just took it and, you know,
They literally rolled with it.
exactly, you know, rolled it away, and now it just blew up. Now
sure.
everybody sees something. It's you know what I mean?
Because like that is something we see regularly. Is that happens? Is like weird snake cannibalism. It's like they misidentify their tail as an actual prey item. Like I said, like that video I sent you was posted just a few days ago on TikTok.
Well, do you think that maybe there's a food issue, or a when it comes to these, because reptiles, one, they're delicate creatures already.
Yeah.
I mean, they gotta have the right kind of balance of everything, and that being.
Oh yeah, I mean, I work with like almost 30 species of reptiles across, which again is not a lot, but to others it's crazy. But
It's a lot to me.
yeah, I mean, and they all have their own little individual things that they need for that specific species in itself. But
Do you think maybe it could be like an environmental, or maybe a disease or something, or
it very well could. I mean,
or a mental
because
condition?
you have
I
things.
just said a mental condition for a snake.
No, yeah. So, yeah. So that happens as well. Is you can have something where again it's a deformality, neurological issues. Neurological issues are one of the biggest ones, and I see it as a breeder where we call it like head wobble, or you can just tell that they're not firing on all cylinders. And snakes aren't the smartest things, but they're not dumb by any means. And could it have been an issue with a local population of a snake? Yeah, very well. That's like if you find a critter of whatever kind of critter, and you take it 15 miles up the road, now you're introducing a individual that has probably its own kind of sickness and putting in a completely different population that does not have any kind of resiliency to that sickness, like a different kind of flu that it didn't have down south.
That makes sense. Okay, so yeah, because a snake could hitch a ride on a cart or something like that, in a bag
Happens all
of
the time.
rice or what?
Look
Yeah,
at Florida.
exactly. Yeah, Florida's a prime example of that one.
They have, umpteen different invasive species of birds, insects, waterfowl, all of it.
Well, speaking, you're gonna like this one. Now, there were so many sightings of this creature that in the 1930s, the United States leading herpetologist Raymond Ditmars placed a $10,000 reward in trust in a New York City bank for the first person who produced definitive proof of the hoop snake. Now, Ditmars was an incredibly popular naturalist, author, and nature documentarian of his time. He wrote the definitive book Reptiles of North America in 1936, the Field Book of North American Snakes in 1939, and many other seminal works on reptiles of the world. No one ever claimed the reward. And the hoop snake is still classified as a cryptozoological animal whose scientific name is... I'm going to let you try and play with that one.
Oh gosh, we're not talking
The
about
very
that.
bottom.
Simpensiculosus
I'll have Tommy post it on the video. You guys see it.
caudavinifer. Serpensicurculus caudavinifer. Yeah,
We'll just post that word and let other people figure it out.
I like it.
It'll be fun.
We'll just go with that one. Now,
There you go.
the hoop, or horn, snake is the oldest terrestrial cryptid in the United States. And that could be debated. Interestingly, the animal seems unknown to the Native Americans. So the
They
natives
were here
are
the
like...
whole time.
Yeah. So I'm going to go off the bat of this one real quick, because it was a mistaken identity of a snake eating itself. Now,
Logically?
and then Tommy sees one rolling towards him.
Yeah, then you have an eyewitness. Because for me as a reptile keeper, like it sounds like a snake was eating itself, and logically I want to be like it was sitting on a branch and it happened to roll. But if it also saying this, if it ate enough of itself, like in that video I showed you, it ate like 70% of its body. It would be rigid enough to roll if it ate enough of itself. If it only ate the tip of its tail, I would be like, it had to flex.
Well, according to the legend, that's all it does. It bites itself right there, but it keeps its finger out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think logically. It's like I almost want to disprove it.
I know.
But at the
same
same
way.
time, I'm like, I want to find this thing
See?
because I'd want to keep it.
Now we're beginning.
But then my wife would be like, "You said no venomous in the house," and I'm like, "Oh yeah."
It's not venomous.
She'd be like, "Yes, it is. Don't lie to me."
All right. Now, it is uniquely English colonial in nature, and its existence has been common knowledge along the East Coast and beyond for centuries. The first record of the horned snake was in John Joslin's 1665 book,
1665.
an account of 2 voyages to New England. On page 22, in it, Jocelyn, staying near modern-day Scarborough, reports killing over 80 of these he found emerging from a den near his house in mid-May of 1639. He describes some of them as big as the small of my leg, black in color, and 3 yards long, with a sharp horn on the tip of their tail, 2 inches in length. Jocelyn was an English citizen and author. His brother was a governor of the District of Maine. He spent years traveling around Maine and recording the customs, stories, and natural histories of the area. The first account of the hoop snake-like tendencies of the horn snake was recorded in Stoke County, North Carolina by John Fernandad Smith in his 1784 book, A Tour of the United States of America, Volume 1, pages 263 through 265. And there's even a drawing that they did. Take a look at that.
Yeah, can I see that?
Yeah, look at that. Tommy, you'll have all this stuff. I know you're not here to see it.
Oh, it's got why does it look like a fox?
It's probably because of how they drew it.
They
Do you
didn't-
say
they didn't
the
have me
snake
to
looks
draw
like a
it.
fox?
Yeah, I'll make sure you get. You're gonna get all this stuff, Tommy.
Sweet.
I wonder if I can find a copy of this still. That'd just be a fun for my personal library in my reptile room.
Yeah,
I have a nice little reptile, or it's not even. It's animals. It's just a little.
I'll email it to you.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on my notes. So I figured out how to get it emailed to you. Now, I think I found out what you're talking about. What you looking for it earlier?
Yeah.
The Ouroboros. Oh, here it goes. Ouroboros in a 14th century Greek manuscript.
Ouroboros.
That's what that picture is.
Okay.
That's what that is. So that's why it looks like a fox. So, but they're going looking at a reptile biting itself.
Yeah. No, that part I
Now, this is
definitely
14th century Greek.
for sure.
So, if it doesn't appear anywhere else in the world, why are the Greeks doing a picture of it?
And that's when you have a.
So this will be the
divergent,
picture that we post up there, you guys, of the Greek Ouroboros.
which would make sense because you have similar things across the world that shouldn't, right? So you have like the green tree python and you have the emerald tree boa. You have a python and a boa that are separated by oceans. They look relatively the same. They act the exact same. Similar-ish head structure, eat the same thing. But then you have the evolution, like the divergence.
So real quick, so what is the difference between a boa and a python?
The big one?
Explain to it the difference between a boa and a python.
Boas have live young, pythons lay eggs.
There we go.
That's the big major one. I mean, and of course, like you have boas down south, and most of the time in the old world, you have pythons. Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Yeah. Speaking of which, hoop snakes occur nowhere else in the world. However, they do resemble the Ouroboros, which we just talked about, which is an ancient symbol of a snake or dragon swallowing itself and thereby creating a circle. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, see, there you go. So you have the
The
divergence.
It's the Ouroboros. Ouroboros. Dear God, you think that we were drunk. How do you spell that?
Ouroboros? I don't know. It looks like Ouroboros to me. I don't know.
Ouroboros. I like that. We'll
I'm
go with
from Arkansas.
Ouroboros.
I'm from Arkansas, so.
Hey, I'm going with that one. Ouroboros. Tommy, Ouroboros.
Boris.
Okay, now
I got it.
you'll love this one. It's a fertility symbol and is also symbolic of birth, life, death, rebirth, renewal cycle, rather than a real animal to be found in the world. Now, the Ouroboros dates back to ancient Egypt and was widely used across Europe after being adopted by Greek sorcerers and medieval alchemists everywhere. The hoop snake is a snake with a horn-like stinger and was first known as the horn snake. But we've talked about that already. But it should not be confused with the widespread and powerful Native American horned serpent. Well, why not?
Same thing talked about by two different people.
Yeah, this horned snake is a giant freshwater serpent from detailed accounts, stories, spiritual traditions, and petroglyphs of many, many Native American cultures from across the continent. This horned serpent has deer-like antlers on its head rather than a single spike on the tail. Well, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like just like faith across the world, across the ages. It's like they all talk about roughly the same thing, just from their own perspective.
Okay, now here we go. All right, so now the hoop snake does not appear in any Native American stories, and only one historical account mentions Native American lore about the treatment of venomous hoop snakes. Now, but they believe this is likely a secondhand account. So, okay, so let's talk about...
Also probably lost in translation.
Well, okay, so not only lost in translation, but I've talked about this before on the show, and when colonists are spreading across the world,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and a lot of them come from England and stuff like that. They were based on all their biology and their education based upon people in Oxford who were sitting there who knew everything.
They still try to do that.
Yes, and it's where when they would encounter native, populations, people, and they would explain to them stuff, they would tell them they were wrong.
Yeah.
There's no way this should exist. No, you're wrong. Yeah,
When we have all new species out west.
yes,
Yeah.
but
That they
wrong.
have not seen in person yet.
Yeah, but they're wrong.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Exactly, but but however, that tradition still goes on, and it happens a lot today with a lot of it's biologists and stuff. It's where they no longer go to the field.
Yeah, they're stuck in their old ways as well.
and they're not going to let go of what they were taught.
Exactly.
And that falls in line with kind of what the interview. Anyways, I can't really talk about that right now. But people have to be able to open up their mind to accept new evidence and new creatures and everything. And we're discovering new creatures and everything all the time. So I mean, if this guy's, as he described earlier when he was here in the 1600s and slaughtering these snakes as they're coming out, and they're 3 yards long, that's a big ass snake.
I mean, yeah, what you said, 3 meters, so that's 9 foot,
That's a 9-foot snake.
and as small as his lower portion of his leg. That's a big snake.
That's a fat snake.
That's a timber rat. That's a diamondback rattlesnake.
Yeah.
That's the biggest, fattest snake we have in North America.
I don't know. Many modern scientists and folklorists have suggested that the hoop snake is merely a legend based on a mistaken identity of more common snakes. One that is often suggested is the eastern black rat snake, who is thick black snake and known for gliding quickly down hills. We just talked about this.
They are big and they are fast.
When it pursues its prey. However, this large snake is a shy constrictor and non-venomous. Now, okay, so let's talk about that for a second. Okay, so
It's technically not a constrictor.
So a lot of people with snakes. All right, so most of everybody's idea of a snake, when they see a snake, their first thought is it's venomous.
Always.
So they're always going to misidentify.
Always.
Water snakes are misidentified as moccasins. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest. So there's always a constant misidentification when it comes to reptiles, and I like to give our ancestors the benefit of the doubt of knowing
They knew which ones,
which ones are good or bad.
because they lived outside.
But to a point also, too, though, if you're seeing something quick, because there's that natural, which you don't have, this natural fear that people have of reptiles and snakes. Right,
Yeah.
Tommy?
Right.
Okay, I hope I didn't lose you. Sorry. So people have always been afraid of snakes.
Oh, it's instilled. Especially if you were raised in the church.
Yes, exactly. So, we could trace it back. We could go down that path of everything as well. But with this cryptid here, though, there is a strong case for misidentification. But what gets me on it, though, is these guys who wrote about it, they were writing what they were seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So there was obviously something here.
Yeah, they saw something,
Yes, and it did something.
which is like what we just talked about. That small, at least snippet of truth of what they saw.
Yeah. But, there's pages written on it.
Yeah, clearly there's literature on it.
Yeah, exactly. What I like about...
So did we kill them all?
See, that's what I was wondering, too, though. All right. So another misidentification could be another widespread snake that is likely candidate is the black racer, but it's another constrictor. The racer is widely believed by the public to be venomous due to his tendency to hold its head up and aggressively chase after those who disturb it.
So I have seen that. And,
That's cool.
Racers are one of those ones. They are a very defensive snake, and they will have no problem running at you.
I would run.
They're fast, and I'm telling you, you should see my 6'2" run. I'm gonna keep it clean, running in some tall grass after a racer. Because they're cool. Their face is cool. They just look mean. Their ocular scales that's above their eye is slanted, so they look menacing already. And they'll bite you if you hand on. They'll light you up. But they do. They can literally slither on the last third of their body, so they can raise 2/3 of their body up.
Well, let
and
me
that's
ask you
the
a
way they
question,
look.
Tommy. Do you think that's something maybe you saw?
Oh no.
It was actually a hoop. It was a circle and it rolled.
Yeah, it was a circle in a row, and it got pretty close to me. Like I had to, I was running uphill basically. After running across the field, I started running up the little hill bankment there. I jumped a ditch, basically to get rid of it. But no, it was rolling. It was moving pretty fast too that way. It was crazy.
So here's the funny part. So before I called you, we talked about one of the best ways they say to get away from the hoop snake is to jump a fence, because that would have to cause it to like turn, and slither. Excuse me, which will slow it down. So you jump in the ditch just kind of ties in with the fence theory.
Yeah, kind of.
Huh. Go ahead. I like that.
That's pretty sweet.
Now, in the Southwest, where the snake appears in Pecos Bill. Yeah, Pecos Bill.
I don't even know that's that.
You know who Pecos Bill is? We do a whole episode on Pecos Bill.
Oh, well, I'll have to go back.
And other cowboy tall tales, it has been suggested that that candle went out. I was like, what?
Spooky.
It has been suggested that the hoop snake is merely a proxy for the sidewinder, an oddly moving venomous rattlesnake that even has a small horn-shaped spikes over its eyes. Mm-hmm. Okay, but again, we've already shot that down too, though. So I'm going to start getting away from these misidentification potential snakes here because it's just ridiculous. You know what I mean? So,
because there are like smaller species of rattlesnakes that are not true rattlesnakes based on their button count and the fact that they can't actually rattle. And like the sidewinder is a smaller species of rattlesnake that has very few buttons, just like our native pygmy rattler, which is not a true rattlesnake. Because it doesn't rattle. So, but yeah, the sidewinder does move in a non-traditional snake. Locomotion is the word.
yeah, but it's not even a hoop style. So I can't
No,
even
like
see.
I don't think I've ever.
It almost felt like they were reaching on that one.
Yeah, that one's a stretch.
That was a stretch. The racer theory sounds more logical to me than anything. But again, too, though, we got Tommy on here, and Tommy's
Yeah, and he's saying he saw one. Like I said, for me, I want to see one.
yeah, and Tommy's fragile. He's my fragility, but he's not a liar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not laughing, dude. That was funny.
No, I'm sorry.
He's like, I'm let's.
I was laughing. I was just trying not to interfere.
No, you're supposed to laugh. That was a point.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. You're part of the show. You know, I rarely get Tommy on. He'll come on the live shows, but for him to come on and do this, Tommy, I'm proud of you.
Hey, thank you. I proud of myself.
Good, as you should be.
Yeah, some of the stuff that it's saying that you could get it confused with is crazy. But again, with all the so-called history of it there that you're reading, where would all these came from if it's not real?
Exactly.
Agreed.
So here's I'm thinking at one point in time there was probably a good population of them here. I think that they were kind of written off by the natives to a point where, it was just kind of one of those things. Yeah, it's a snake. But they probably didn't call it a hoop snake because, they probably called it something else.
No, yeah.
And maybe
That's what we called
their
it.
legend of their horn snake is referencing this thing. And maybe they just kind of, somebody got crazy and drew antlers on it one day because it's just, I don't know. I'm not,
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Because it's cool.
Well, I mean, just like some of the, what was it, European slang, I mean, or the European word where, I mean, people add stuff to whatever their feared prey is. I mean, you've got some areas that added where to like were tiger because tiger's their biggest, predator at the moment. So they call it were tiger. So, I mean, it could be one of those, like you said,
Oh, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah, I
see
get
what-
that. So well, possibly maybe they did get a mistranslation, and the Native Americans are going stupid colonials. I mean, seriously, maybe
Like, that's not what we're saying at all.
yeah, exactly. And so, or maybe they just maybe the snakes should take care of the problem. Maybe that's what they were hoping for. I don't know. I don't blame them. I mean, seriously. I mean,
Are there still small populations after whether it's
they could have been
habitat
hunted.
destruction and now the population is small?
Well, okay,
Or-
let's talk
or
about that. So, The Simpsons.
They're never wrong.
Did you see the episode of The Simpsons where they do the snake beating, where
So-
they hunt snakes? You know what I'm talking about?
I have never watched a full episode of The Simpsons or South Park.
Well, I've never seen South Park. Well, I've seen clips of South Park. So
Yeah, you're
in
not
this one
missing anything on
episode,
South Park.
they attack snakes. So they wait. There's like snake beating day,
Oh,
and Lisa
that's a felony here. So
Lisa is
don't kill
all about
snakes.
trying to protect animals and stuff on the show, which is really cute. And she learns that they can, they hear through their body on the ground, stuff like that.
Yeah, man,
So
for sure.
what she does is she gets these speakers and puts them on the ground, and it creates the vibration. All the snakes go to the Simpsons house, which makes Homer not happy, obviously, and they're trying to protect all the snakes and
I
everything.
gotta. I have to just Google that one.
It's a really neat episode, and so I'm wondering if there's Simpsons are never wrong. What if there's a grain of truth that they did this? They actually went out and hunted these snakes down, And
Well, I mean, we had huge populations of the eastern diamondback. We have like little to no populations. Like I have a buddy, actually the same guy I was telling you about the he found the hybrid water snake.
Mm-hmm.
He found one. Like the first person that I've talked to in probably over a decade who has found one in the wild.
Really?
Like I said, my grandpa, they used to be all over Northwest Arkansas, going down to Fort Smith, Hot Springs. Their populations have just dwindled to nothing.
So same thing could happen with these creatures.
I mean, it's very well popular, and like that's also with when we were talking about also the anacondas, which is my favorite species. I'm glad I get to work with them. Is you have populations of anacondas, which where they thought were maybe just smaller localities of another one, and then like that new one they found, it was like, okay, it's either a hybrid or whatever, or it's just a species of the green anaconda, or whichever one it was that has just been separated off because of whether it's habitat destruction or lack of food or whatever. Maybe that was another thing. It's like whether it just got pushed off into one centrally located area and then now it's its own species, or it's just been completely hunted to almost nothing, and now you're only finding small pockets of this hoop snake. I don't know.
I think so. Maybe with expansion, development of certain areas. This guy claiming he killed a ton of them.
Which is no different than the rattlesnake roundup we're doing now.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know that rattlesnakes down there have now figured out in Texas that they quit using the rattles?
I mean,
No, they've quit using the rattles because they've learned through generations of they
We'll
use
get
the rattles.
found.
They're going to get found and they're going to get killed.
don't support rattlesnake roundups.
No, don't. I never support.
It's sick and it's disgusting.
Yeah, and on top of that too, though, it's dangerous because if the snakes are no longer using the rattles, more people are going to get bit.
Well, it's no. I'm not gonna go into what I was just gonna say. I can't. Not on the air. I'm not gonna say it. Not
No.
publicly.
I think that rattlesnake randoms are horrible.
It's animal abuse, and somehow it keeps getting funded. I don't understand that.
I know, and yes,
And it's not me being a reptile guy. That's me. I like reptiles, but like I am an animal person. Like, trust me, if I had funds and you want to support me and buy certain mammals and birds and stuff, I'll send money my way. But I would have an absolute freaking zoo. But it's just sick and it's wrong, and it still comes to Arkansas and people still support it, and I don't know how they do. I don't know.
No, I think the event you're talking about. I think I took the kids to this big thing that was at Barton a couple of years ago, and they had a bunch of them there.
Well, they do it at the Big Buck Classic.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about without mentioning it.
I'll say
Yeah.
it. It's
So
I do not know how they even get the transportation laws to do that, and then they do it, and no permits, no nothing. People pay for it. I mean, that is animal abuse. They're putting them on a cold floor
when we
and
were
being
there,
manhandled
when we were there, they rarely rattled,
because they're cold.
Yes,
they put them on a cold concrete floor,
and they know that they
and their
rattle.
metabolism is so slow. They're killing them slowly.
That's
that
why
way.
they do it, so they can be handled a lot easier.
And it's cool. I mean, because they're like, their mouth's not sewed shut. It's not taped. It's not. Yeah, because you're putting it into a catatonic state to where it can't do anything.
I love this. Don't you, Tommy?
You're gonna get me all riled up.
Sorry, lost my voice.
You're fine. I know you're having voice issues.
Yeah.
That's why Tommy's fragility, you guys, because Tommy gets sick a lot. One, you're right. I don't support anything like that at all, and I have a hard time with it, especially with the animal. I understand animal education, but I don't think a lot of these things that's what they're doing.
I don't stress my animals out when I do education shows.
No, and no, I've seen. I know you, and I know how you do it, and how well you treat your animals. When you were here with me for your first episode with that beautiful little friend of mine.
I'll have to bring her back.
You're gonna have to.
I need to get her a boyfriend. Is really what I need.
No, she probably misses.
Wait,
me.
what?
The snake I was handling.
Coral the blood python.
Yeah, no. You said something about getting her a boyfriend.
I need to get my blood python a boyfriend. Yeah, but I'll be.
How old is she now?
Oh, she's still too. She's.
Are you interested?
No. I'm just saying, you gotta wait for them to get a certain age. Don't be trying to rush them off.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not going to try to rush her out. I'm enjoying her while she's still manageable.
You got
She was a
three fur
sweetheart.
babies, and
She was a really sweetheart. If y'all
she's
haven't
awesome.
checked that episode on out, yeah, you see me just grinning from ear to ear, handling that. I mean, she was awesome, And so, but we'll bring this in for a landing real quick. So let's get some opinions on it. So we'll do the roundtable opinion on the infamous America's oldest cryptid, the hoop snake, and we will start with Tommy on the phone. What do you think? You think they're still? You've seen one, so obviously you think they're still out there, right?
I do, and then some of the stuff again. I just wanted to mention something about back then. They didn't. I guess they didn't really know what phobias was either. So that can always make something look different or look bigger than what it was. But yeah, no, I witnessed one, so I know they're out there. But it happened. I mean, it happened so long ago, and a lot of the animals that I seen back in the day are very little or extinct. So
I agree. I agree completely. Connor.
Like I said, for me, I mean,
Okay, so here's the funny part. So when we first brought it up to you,
yeah,
you were very anti. Yeah, there. Yes.
from a logical and a sciencey background, yes, I would like to say no. But for me, as also a reptile person, would love to see that.
Okay, so for
Because
this,
we are, like I said, we're still finding new species today. And
So-
if something maybe, I mean, and we're also, we just found, okay, so side note, but kind of. So Forrest Galante, I think I talked about him last time. We rediscovered a species in Ferdinando. It's a small island chain off the Galapagos. We rediscovered an extinct species of tortoise for the last 110 years. It's been extinct.
Oh, how cool.
We just found a female. So things are possible. This tortoise was extinct for a long time, for 110 years, and then, I mean, now since it just came out probably, I'll say easily a month, 2 months ago before they actually aired it. But yeah, we rediscovered a species that was extinct. So not to say, and it's on a small island where it's not going anywhere. So it's possible. And for me, wanting to say something has been rediscovered after United States was founded, I think is badass, if I can say that.
yeah. We just watched the F1s.
Yeah, I won't use that one. I've been pretty good, actually. I've been keeping it in the back of my head. But anyway, but yeah, for me, logically, I want to say no, it couldn't. But the other side of me, the little boy in me, is like, I want it to be real so bad. And the fact that you did get to see one, Tommy, I mean, it does kind of give you that like glimmer of hope, almost like, maybe.
See,
And
so the cool thing about the cryptid side of the house for what we do is that when we get a chance to talk to eyewitnesses who've seen creatures and beings that aren't supposed to exist, and you can hear, I mean, the detail what they go into and all that stuff, and you're going, it's kind of hard to make up.
And for me, like I like 100%. For me, I believe in aliens. I believe in UFOs.
Right.
So like you can't just be like, oh, you're just 100% skeptic. Like, no. And I believe in the paranormal. So like, there's things that either it's hard to explain or whatever. Like, I'm not 100% a skeptic at all. Not to say things don't, like, it's just crazy. So
I agree.
For me, it's like not knowing it was a cryptid this whole time until this morning.
You're welcome.
When I thought it was just an old political cartoon that I've seen my entire life and never really gave too much thought about it, to know that, hey, someone did actually see this thing. And I'm like, hey, it's possible. I mean, we're finding new dart frogs and chameleons and rediscovering giant, mind you, not a small tortoise. This is an 80-pound tortoise that was rediscovered. So it's kind of hard to lose a giant tortoise.
I think it's pretty cool that they're doing that. And so my final thoughts on it. One, I think that this creature did exist. I think that the population's probably been diminished.
To nothing. Almost.
To a small thing. We just covered it, what you just did with the eastern, rattlesnake. So, and there's a whole bunch of other species of animals out there the same way. It does come down to a population thing, and they're probably very well hidden. And again, like I was talking about the rattlesnakes for the roundup, they have learned not to rattle. So the hoop snake has probably learned not to come near us.
Yeah.
As well. So we'll do what it can to avoid us. And with this population being as small as it is,
And ours growing.
Yeah, and we have probably accidentally killed it, not realizing that what it was.
As many people as kill snakes, like on site, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Really, the best snake's a dead snake. Listen, folks, the best snake is not a dead snake. Snakes are actually very, very detrimental to our habitat, our ecosystem, the environment, everything. They cut down on rodents. They cut down on there's so much.
Insects.
They do so many things, wonderful things for us, and in general. Most of these snakes, you just see them.
They don't want anything to do with you.
No, they
will almost always go the other way.
Yeah, the old saying, they're more afraid of you than you are of them
Is
is
fact.
a fact. They're scared to death.
You corner them, they're gonna defend themselves.
Exactly. You know, when I worked at Petco, for the reptile guy, it was hilarious because I always get asked all the time, "Do they bite?"
Do they bite?
And my answer every single time was yes.
Anything with a mouth can bite.
And that was my answer every time.
It's mine to this day.
Yep. I mean, Nugget sits here and just gnaws on you like he's,
I literally use dogs and babies when I do my shows because I'll get that 2 times a show every time by an adult and by a student. And I'll be like, "Does your little brother bite you sometimes? Does your puppy bite you?" It's no different.
It's no different. Yep. It's just it's a mental
Yeah.
thing. That's all it is. So I'm going to go with yes. I'm going to go with yes. I think they're out there, and I think they're real. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Sound good?
Sweet.
All right. Guys, thank you very much. This was a lot of fun. It was a little different episode of what we remember to do.
I like it. It was fun.
But we're covering a cryptid, and it's a fun cryptid. You know, the show gets really dark sometimes. We cover some dark issues and topics, and I really wanted to do something just kind of fun and lighthearted, and I kind of have it out there so while we're going through the move and everything that, it's still there. But, you guys, tell us in the comments what you think about the hoop snake, if you think it's real or not. And there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more legends. We could have done hours on it, to be honest with you. Now, Paul Bunyan's tied into it, which is hilarious.
I know that caught me off guard.
I know. I was like, Paul Bunyan. So I've been kicking around the idea of doing a Paul Bunyan episode, actually. Doing like an American, lore legend kind of, Paul Bunyan, Johnny Appleseed, Pickles Bill, some of these other famous little, characters that we grew up with that suddenly like disappeared, that kind of thing. So, all right, Tommy,
That'd
man,
be really cool.
I do. Tommy, don't hang up. Don't hang up.
Oh no, I was saying that would be really cool right there.
Sweet. All right, well, you guys, thank you very much again for tuning into another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. And remember, keep liking and sharing the show. I appreciate everything you guys have done. Looking forward to seeing you guys back on the other side when we get the move and everything handled and taken care of. Thank you again, and don't forget to check out the Patreon page. Don't forget to check out that we're going to be at the Arkansas Paranormal Expo this October 25th and 26th, and I will be a guest speaker at the Ohio Bigfoot Jamboree 2 on October 4th. Yeah, that's right. October is a busy month for Matthew. So, till next time, y'all keep squatching.
I can do anything that I want. I can do anything that I want now. I can do anything that I want. Hey, hey, if it is to be, you know that it's up to me. I'm headed to the front. I can be anything that I want. I can be anything that I want now. I can be